Hello everyone, welcome back to Trek A Day, and today we have another Star Trek book with Star Trek Voyager number 4, Violations by Susan Wright. Violations. Under the guise of helping the crew find a way home, a group of aliens board the USS Voyager, and then steal the main computer. To get it back, Captain Janeway is forced to negotiate with the thieves, who are from a consortium of planets where thievery is a way of life. But as Janeway and the crew fight to retrieve their computer in time to save the barely functioning ship, they become embroiled in a political battle that could not only destroy the USS Voyager, but the crew as well. This is a really fun Voyager book that fits perfectly in those first few seasons of the series. It's an interesting idea, good pacing, really digs into the idea of Voyager being very alone, which sometimes almost feels forgotten in some of the later stories, even within the show. But I think overall it does a really good job, and part of why I think it is so good as far as these just kind of individually numbered one-off adventure books is that I remember the story vividly, and I have not read this story, reread the story, in 20-something years. It's on my list to reread, but I also remember it very vividly. I don't even remember what classroom I was in when I was reading it during breaks and things like that, because this was the first Voyager novel that I ever read while Voyager was still ongoing on TV, and I was deep in the trenches of 90s Trek, so it holds a lot of memories for me because of that, and it was actually one of the first ever Star Trek novels that I read that wasn't one of the kids series. There's a kids like an Academy series and then Deep Space Nine books and things, and I'd read some other like TOS kids books, but this was one of the first. I can never remember what exactly the very first one I read was, because I started listening to books on tape, like audiobooks as a young kid of Star Trek books, before I could read quite the novel length level as a young kid, and didn't really get into the books until, I was trying to think, what year did this book come out? Like 95, 96, so I didn't really start getting into the novels until a little bit later, as during that time I was busy reading a lot of fantasy, especially Dragonlance, if you remember that series. So Star Trek books, it wasn't until around this time, like 95, 96, that I really started heavily getting into the novels. And this is one of those first ones that I read, and I think it's just a fun little Voyager adventure.